It's beer o'clock on Real Ale Craft Beer. Today we've got a beer from Moor Beer Company, and this is their Oktoberfest style FestBier. I'm really looking forward to this one. It's 5.8% ABV. It's in a 440 milliliter can. So on the can here you have people playing trombones and trumpets and just having a good time. There's that little kind of Oktoberfest flag. So very quickly, I was in Thorpe Park on the weekend, just yesterday, Saturday actually, 2 days ago, and they had a little Oktoberfest thing going on in Thorpe Park, and I thought, oh, this looks interesting. Went on a few rides and then had a look at the bar. They had Spaten, which is one of the big six. Yes, that deserves its place. It's an official Oktoberfest beer. But the other beer was Beck's. I couldn't believe it. Beck's. And they were serving it in plastic cups. I was like, oh, come on. You know, they were advertising the big boards outside and throughout the park. They had big German people with their big steins and the women in their lederhosens, the men in their lederhosens, drinking these big steins of beer. And then can you imagine the disappointment if anybody has got any inkling, any clue about beer? Can you imagine their disappointment when they go to the bar, they see it's Beck's. So okay, I won't have a Beck's, I'll have a Spaten. And then they order a Spaten and it comes in a plastic cup. Oh my God, it was almost laughable. It was almost laughable. Anyway, apart from that, I'm really looking forward to this one. I've chilled it over the weekend. I'm going to show you something that I've learned recently. I still love learning about stuff in beer, you know. So this is by Moor Beer Company. It's 5.8% ABV, 440 milliliter can. It's a lovely can. It's got that blue, that Oktoberfest blue, some white. So this is what I learned. So there's a way of pouring these fest beers, and to do it is to do this. Give it a big rigorous. Do that to it. Now there's probably people watching the video here going, my goodness me, what has he done to his beer? But hold on. Whilst I let that settle down, let me explain. So I kind of got the idea from Budweiser Budvar. I went to Brew London about 18 months ago. And I met Redeem from Budweiser Budvar. And he showed us how to do this kind of, I think it's called a double pour. I think that's the official name. It's like a double pour technique. So carbonation in a lager, a fest beer, it's part of the packaging. It's part of keeping the beer fresh. It's there to do a job. It's there to do the job of protecting the beer and keeping the beer fresh. So of course, when you've got the beer in your hand and you're ready to drink it, the idea is to get rid of that carbonation. So by getting rid of the carbonation, you're giving it a bit of a rigorous pour. You're knocking out a lot of that carbonation. You can see the beer rising and the head dissipating. Now, I was down with Justin Hawke of Moor Beer Company. We brewed a collaboration beer together on Friday. It's now Monday morning here. And that same technique was again shown to me. And it makes perfect sense. So Justin poured a beer on a 45-degree angle, nice and carefully, this very fest beer. And it was lots of carbonation going on, looking kind of really lovely in the glass, little head. And then he gave a rigorous one. Then he gave one of those kind of drop, big head, let the head settle, filled the beer up again with a bit of a rigorous pour, and he knocked out the carbonation. And he gave me the two beers. I tried first the highly carbonated FestBier. It was a bit aggressive, it was still nice, still a very nice beer. And then he gave me this one, the knocked out carbonation one. And the taste and the feel in the mouth is night and day. It's completely different. And much better. Much better. So that's... I know it's going to take a little bit of patience. If you kind of understand this already, then maybe skip the next minute of the video. Maybe do that. But if... to the tasting. But if you're interested in this, if you want to learn something like I've learned something, then maybe stick around, maybe not skip the video. I just don't want to waste anybody's time. I'm always about kind of, you know, we're busy people, let's not waste people's time. If you want to skip a minute, skip a minute. So what I've thought of in the future is like even having a pint of Beck's or a pint of Stara Praven in a pub. You always see them 45-degree angle, pouring, loads of carbonation. I'm going to try it. I'm going to try bottles of Stara Praven. I'm going to get bottles of Beck's. I'm going to get bottles of maybe some Kronbacher, some of the German lagers, a Warsteiner, and I'm going to do exactly the same as that. I'm going to knock out the carbonation and just see how smooth these beers are. We're nearly there. In fact, there's only a little inch left in the bottom of that can. So, I mean, look at that. This is being brewed in Bristol. This is brewed in Bristol. Look at it. Slightly hazy, fantastic creamy head. If this was handed to you in a blind taste test, you would swear that this was brewed in Germany. Now, there's a reason for that. Justin, I was speaking to him last week. We had a really good time. He spent a few years living in Germany. So he lived in Germany for a long time. So he learned how to brew really good lager. I find that fascinating. Absolutely fascinating. Originates from America. Lived in Germany. Now lives in the UK. Spends his time going to places like Italy and Belgium, studying this fantastic art form, studying beer. And this is the result, by the way. This is the result. This tremendous looking pint of FestBier. Let's get the aroma. So first of all, let's get the look of the beer. So slow moving carbonation. Now we've knocked a lot of that out. Hazy. I would say going towards amber in the colour. We got a 2 to 3 finger white frothy head. Aroma. Yeah, just unbelievable. It's got that. It smells like a Warsteiner. It smells like a Kronbacher unfiltered. It smells just like a German lager. And that's testament. That is absolute testament to this brewery, to be able to say that. There's not many breweries in the UK you can say when you're getting the aroma or the taste of a lager that it smells and tastes like an authentic German FestBier or Weissbier or Pilsner or Helles lager. Let's dive in. Cheers, everybody. Spot on. Absolutely spot on. Brilliant, in fact. Brilliant. Up until a couple of years ago, I had no time for lager. No time for lager whatsoever. My view a few years ago was it was beating down on real ale. It was beating down on traditional beer. It was eating into the real ale market, the craft beer market, which I know and love. But I've completely changed my mindset. I've opened my mind up to lager. Because you get a good lager. You get a good lager like this. That's lovely and malty and biscuity. Spicy and peppery and hoppy and bitter on the back end. And it's pure. It's perfection. It really is perfection. That is terrific. That is really, really, really terrific beer. The bitterness that just rolls on the back end is just fantastic. It's not overly done. It's not super bitter. It's nicely balanced. But knocking out that carbonation, dropping that beer from a height, it's just made all the difference for me. It's made all the difference. You're left with such a smooth, creamy, rich mouthfeel. It's nice and malty and biscuity and balanced to begin with in terms of the balance of the maltiness and the sweetness. Then it goes over to being lovely and crisp and bitter on the back end. There's stinging nettle flavours coming from the hops. There's peppery, spicy flavours coming from the hops. It's wonderful. It is absolutely wonderful. Right, what the more say about this then? Prost, brewed and canned by Moor. The original natural light beer, so they're talking about how they naturally carbonate their beers in the cans, which is that's another fascinating thing. But there's not really too much on the there's not really too much on the kind of the description of this beer, but that's fine. That's absolutely fine. I think this type of beer, this type of Oktoberfest beer, it speaks for itself, doesn't it? I'm gonna rate it. I'm gonna start off by the look. If you think of German beer, these big steins, all of the lacing around the top, the way the beer looks in the glass, this, again, I'm going to mention it again, this is brewed in Bristol, not Bavaria, not Germany, hundreds of miles from Germany. This is brewed in Bristol. Look at it. This, I challenge anybody to have a blind taste test with this, with a similar Spaten FestBier or something of that kind of Oktoberfest style, and tell me that this doesn't. Tell me it doesn't hold up. This does. This holds up to some of the best, if not the best, Oktoberfest beers in the world. This is terrific. I love it. I love that enough to give it a Stone the Crows 10 out of 10. It's a 10 out of 10 beer from Real Ale Craft Beer. Please put your comments in the comments box. Subscribe to our daily beer and food reviews. Give us a big fat thumbs up. Boom. Cheers.